I hate you.
Are we live?
Yeah, of course we're fucking live. I told you to
Oh,
shut
damn.
up, though. I told you to shut up so I can do the introduction. You
All right, go.
stupid
You can do the
idiot.
introduction. Go
Of
ahead.
course I can do the fucking introduction. This is my podcast.
Yeah, go
Hey,
for it.
Hey, what do you call it when the sun goes down and the stars are out? It's nighttime. And this is the Generalist podcast about gaming, but also about everything else. And it's brought to you by Knightmare Games. Go donate or back our Kickstarter for Last Call for Alcohol. I know you guys won't, because no one else has. And it's probably doomed to fail. But, just like my life, also doomed to fail. Hello, I am Eki, and with me is Professor Claps. How are you today, Professor Claps?
I'm great, but real quick, that's the best you could come up with?
For what?
What do you call it when it's dark outside and the stars are shining?
That's kind of what it was, but wasn't.
Something like that. I forgot already.
Yes.
It left that little of an impression. That's okay.
What it's supposed to be.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's like my
We'll have to think of a different
sexual
one for next week.
encounters. Hey, man. Every week we have a chance.
We have a chance. We just need to take that chance. All right. Tell me, Eki, what would you do if you had some lewd umdars?
Sell them.
Sell them?
Yeah, on the street. Depends on how much I get for it, but I think I'd do it. Hey,
Maybe a couple dollars.
Hey, Mike is wondering why we sound so similar.
We're the same person.
It's two people talking at the same time. It's ventriloquism and masochism.
Ventriloquism is really important when there's no video.
Masochistic ventriloquist. So,
that sounds like a fucking adventure.
It sounds like a really good metal band, honestly.
Let's make it. No, you can make it. You're the professional here.
Yes, I am.
But then again, I'm talking to myself, aren't I?
Yes, you are. It's getting real weird. It's like the movie Split or some shit like that. So, we start off with what is new with Knightmare Games. Run these bitches through our League of Legends team.
Yeah, so we recently brought in a Diamond Plus League of Legends team to compete in big Macho Man tournaments for us.
What is a Macho Man tournament?
A Diamond Plus tournament.
Yeah.
It's got like a $2,000 prize pool. Lots of viewers, like usually in the upper, like close to 100 viewers. So that'll bring in more publicity for us. I mean, I don't know if people will be like, oh, hey, Knightmare Games, that's interesting. And then like click on us and like look at our games or anything. But it's still going to be cool to have our name out there. And I mean, the more people that see us, the more people will be like, oh, hey, you're familiar.
That's right. And that is exciting. Related to that, I'm commissioning an artist to take the horse head that I did a while back and make it look better. So
I love horsehead.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so sometimes it's really grindy and raw, lots of tongue, but sometimes it's not. Other recent news, the artist that was working on the little like tattoos that I mentioned last week has finished those. They're dope. And is now going to start work on backgrounds and environment assets after Ludum Dare. So the first level, for people who are unaware, is ocean themed. It's like, actually, hold on, I gotta make sure. Okay, we're good. I wanted to make sure that like all the audio and stuff was good. Like we could have just been talking to ourselves. Nobody's in the chat, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, Mike was like, "Why do you sound so similar?" Yeah,
that's true. And Juan just got up in here too. But I wanted to make sure.
Is Juan in here?
Yeah, he just jumped up and said, "Yeah, is that him?" And it is. It is the boy. So she's working on the sea level background, wants to have like up to 7 different layers, parallax. We were talking through kind of what we kind of wanted to see, and she's going to draft out some shit and see if it looks good. We've already had another couple of artists try their hand at it and didn't do too well. So we will see how this one goes.
Well, hopefully it works out than the ones that didn't. Works out better than the ones that didn't work out.
Hopefully it works out than the ones that didn't.
Exactly. That's what I was going for.
Kickstarter. I think we got another backer, like one this week, which is dope.
That's big news.
That is big news, you know. That's one more person that's interested in the product, which is more than we had last week. So, I mean, not ideal for people who actually want the Kickstarter to be, what would you call it, successful and funded completely, so that way they get their games. But it's another person who got their eyes on the project and was like, "Hey, I would back that."
Okay, that reminds me of the countless 12-year-old kids that are on YouTube doing their weekly recap videos, and they're like, yeah, I got one new subscriber this week.
You watch,
Good job,
hold
guys.
on, let me break this down for you. You watch 12-year-old YouTubers who do weekly breakdown videos because you are aware of what they do in those videos.
I know they exist. And also, I like to put a smile on their faces, you know?
All right.
Hit that like and subscribe button. I
won't judge you. I already mentioned the guy doing professional esports logo. Holy crap, that is a week of news for Knightmare Games, and thank God that that's over. We can move on to upcoming. Well, actually, let's go with recent events first. I feel like it makes more sense.
What recent events?
The recent event that we talked about last week, right? This is kind of be the format. Like, what did we talk about for upcoming events last week? Because maybe they have passed by this week, so we can discuss them retrospectively. Game Maker 48 was last weekend. How'd we do?
Fantastic.
Okay. What did you do last weekend?
What I did last weekend? Let's see. I dog sat and played League of Legends. I did not participate in making a game.
Nice. Do you ever?
Occasionally.
Nice. We got.
But I'm more of just an idea guy. You know, I'll be like, hey, we should make a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go do other things.
And since we have the time, what do you think the main value is with an idea guy? Let's go. Well, hold on. We can break it. We can break it down. We can break it down even further. Just for a Ludum Dare team, like say, or sorry, a game jam team. Oh. If say let's go programmer, artist, musician, idea guy. Do you think they play like equal roles?
I mean, what's a programmer without an idea?
Well, how easy is it for somebody to program a game?
I mean, it's not easy unless you're a programmer. I mean, for you, it's going to be easy. But what I'm saying is like a programmer might be able to come up with ideas, but anybody can come up with an idea. It's coming up with good ideas that matter.
See, but anybody can come up with an idea. So if you have a programmer who isn't anybody, they can come up with an idea and then they can program it and then they have a product. But if you just have an idea guy, what can
Okay, I'm more than an idea guy though.
Okay. I mean, I'm not personally attacking you. This is
you're right. Just strictly I agree with you, okay?
Okay.
Having an idea guy who just sits there and is like, all right, do this, do that. Yada, yada, yada. This is my idea. Make it happen. If they don't do anything else, then it's kind of like, okay. But you see, the way I don't think those people actually exist in the workplace, probably because they're useless. All right. But my view of an idea guy is think of like the executive producer for like a movie or a video game, right? They have the grand picture in their mind and how they want it to be. And they have the vision. All right. Not everybody sees it the same way. And so even though they're not there, like writing the code, they're relaying that information to the programmers, to the artists of how they want it to be. And that's an idea guy in my eyes. Like that's the guy who is actually one of the most useful people, because any group of people can make a game if they know like programming and whatnot, but it's making a good game that matters. You know, who's the guy making Death Stranding, the Japanese guy?
Yeah, Magimoto or some shit. Quasimoto.
Yes, Quasimoto. He made the Metal Gear Solid games. Anyway, he has an insane brain for games. You know.
Yeah, he's insane in the membrane. I get it. Hey,
all right. I would like to make a quick comment, if I may.
You certainly can.
So there was a comment made. Well, let me fix my audio because I know I'm going to cut out. I'm going to switch it, push it down.
All right. Welcome to the podcast. This is Juan, a full stack developer and also developed a game as like a testament to his
Lead
skill.
full stack developer.
Lead full stack developer, and he created the game Food.exe, which, in my opinion, was the most phenomenal multiplayer food-based game that came out last year. Other than,
True.
Is it the only one you know?
Stop there.
Sorry, yeah. And that's it.
So
Go
I
ahead,
would like
Juan.
to make a comment. The comment is regarding a previous comment on this podcast, in which that there aren't really idea people or idea only people in organizations. I just this morning was minding my own business, enjoying life, and I got a Slack that said, "Hi, the CEO would like to talk to you, your boss, and our VP of product in 10 minutes." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we go into the meeting, and he's literally just spewing random ass ideas about shit. And he's like, "Here, let's just start coding all this shit." And I'm like, "Okay, well, that's going to push back everything like 3 months." So one thing in particular that I thought was hilarious was that, so I am in the automotive side of the industry.
You're
I'll
really
leak
fucking
that
doxing
right now.
yourself.
I'll leak that. So, one of the things that we do is we have an integration that allows people to value their trade-in, right? So the CEO is like, what if we take out a billboard and then we put a phone number on it where you can send a text message to it and get the trade-in evaluation for your car? All right, now I want you guys to think about this for a second. There's a billboard, you're driving, you see the billboard, you see value your trade-in and then a phone number, and then text message a number. Number one, you're going to have to write down that number as you're driving. And then number two, the concept is you're essentially text messaging it as you're driving, right? Like that's the takeaway. Just super illogical. And then he's like, "Yeah, let's just do it. Fuck it."
Send it. Fucking send it. That's the value of an idea guy, though. One.
No. That's the value of a shitty idea guy.
I mean, shit, he's the CEO and he has like millions of dollars. So
that's a good idea guy.
With production ideas.
Yeah, so this is my view of it is idea guys are good, but you have to have more good ideas than you have bad ideas, right? Because every idea guy is going to have good and bad. It's that proportion that's important.
Okay. How do you establish objectively a good and a bad idea? What metrics do you use?
How much money it brings the company, and if it's going to cause serious harm to someone text messaging looking at a fucking
Let's break it down further into the context of like a game jam. How would you consider an idea guy successful in the context of a game jam?
Also, would you say your CEO has come up with good ideas in the past?
I would say 2 that I have seen are good ideas from the CEO.
What would you say the percentage is?
Extremely low.
Okay. But what do you think a percentage would be for a good idea guy? Like, what percentage do you need to have of good ideas to make yourself a good idea guy?
Above 50%.
Above 50.
50%.
Okay. That's a lot. I feel like that's hard.
It's kind of like Juan, have you ever done anything with like acting?
I have not.
No. Well, like in the acting world, you have to go to auditions, right? Shut the fuck up.
I'm a developer.
Yeah, you're a developer. It was a dumb question.
What the fuck is that question?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but
it's gonna be super relatable. Go ahead.
My point is, like, whenever you try out for something, if you try out for a sports team, like you have to go and try first.
Not something that I've tried out.
Yeah, think of our audience for a fucking second.
Yeah, you're right. Let me explain it to you, though. Okay.
I was in elementary school. I tried out for the soccer team in like 4th grade, and the guy like fucking rejected me. Like straight up, he's like, "Yeah, we're looking for someone with like a better like skill set for like sports," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, fuck." And that was it, man.
All right. I'll put it in better terms for you guys. Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio. How many roles do you think that he has auditioned for or applied for versus how many roles he's actually gotten?
Percentage?
Yeah, like percentage.
Oh, I'd
8.
say super low.
Yeah. Wait, percentage of like roles he's actually gotten is super low, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like with ideas, if you just reserve your ideas and you hold them in and you don't share them, then you're not ever going to have any good ideas. But with idea guys, you have to put almost all of your ideas out there. You know, once you think them through a little bit. But because you're putting so many out there, there's only going to like there might only be a few that are really good. And so I think the percentage is way lower, maybe like 10% of ideas are good. But it's more about like the quality of the idea that is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I agree with you, and I agree.
Mhm.
However, I also think that it's an important trait of an idea guy to be able to determine if an idea is good. And if it isn't good, then you don't tell anyone about it, right? So my threshold is of that 50% is of the ones that he told someone about, right? So like I come up with shitty ideas constantly, but
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
my
like
life.
walking around going like, "Hey, you guys ever try like a bike that also can work in water?" Like I don't know, I'm just coming up with something.
No, that's a real thing.
Yeah, I saw it on
I
MythBusters.
mean, I think I disagree because like how many times have you like done something like okay, Eki, I know when you said when you were working on Spark, by the end of it, you were just like, dude, fuck this. I hate this. And like there were points where you just like thought what you were doing was shit, right? But then somebody else looked at it and they were like, oh, dude, this is fucking dope. This is awesome. I love this. So with your ideas, you have to pitch the ideas. Even if you like if you think it's good, it might be bad. And if you think it bad, somebody else might think it's good. And so what's important is like bounce those ideas off of other people too and get feedback. Like your CEO should get feedback from the people who are implementing these billboards, you know? And then they can look at the flaws and whatnot.
If I may,
Yeah.
if
Go
I may,
ahead,
one,
my bro.
I agree with you. I think that it's much better to have an environment where people will like discuss their ideas and be really open and willing to share them, even if they think that they might be dumb. Because you're right, like somebody else could have a slight variation on it that would make it good, or maybe it is good and they're just not looking at it in the right way. But I think the distinction needs to be made as like if you're like a decision maker, like in Juan's context, you need to be able to determine based on that feedback whether or not the idea you pursue is going to be profitable. And like that that is the characteristic that you're after.
And then additionally, to append to that point, I think that if you throw an idea out there that is super flawed and you don't realize it, for instance, putting something like on a billboard that's like text message this number as you're like going by like at 80 miles an hour. Then
does he also own like a life insurance policy company or something?
Yeah, he might.
But I would consider that as like that's below the 50% mark, right? Because like you're throwing out a poor idea, you should be able to conceptualize it yourself and think about it. So I think part of being a good idea guy is sitting on ideas and thinking about them and trying to put holes in it yourself prior to putting it in front of other people. Because if you're putting everything in front of other people, you're going to get to a point where everyone's like, yeah, all of your ideas are fucking dumb, right? So you have to have some good ideas for people to take you seriously.
I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
I think that's a point we can all agree on.
Yeah.
You need to have good ideas for people to take you seriously.
Yep, you need to have a track record first before you can trust it. But even then, I think that the value of an idea person exclusively as just an idea person is much lower than somebody who can actually like engineer the idea into existence.
Yeah, depends on whether or not he has money though, because an idea guy in like a game studio, an actual game studio would be like the executive producer, right? Who has the image and everything, but he's also the one who's like been tasked with the project. So on small scale, like a game jam over the course of a weekend, I'd agree with you. But if you scale it up a bit, as you scale up, the value of the idea guy increases.
I think that you have a limited understanding of the role of like a director of a studio or something like that. Like if your role is specifically game design or something like that, there's a lot more that goes into it other than just ideas. Like I think that there is no such thing as just an idea guy. I think that people are given, like professionally, is what you were talking about. So I think like, let's give Riot Games as an example. I think if you are a game designer or like a creative director or even like the CEO of Riot Games, you are obviously an idea guy. But I think that they have many other tasks that they do throughout the day that they also bring a lot of value to the company with, other than just like their ideas.
I mean, it's not just the idea, you know, like I said, it's the entire vision and making sure that everything is progressing towards that end goal properly. So I'm looking up right now what exactly Hideo Kojima does. Kojima is the guy behind the Metal Gear games and the new Death Stranding game that's going to come out eventually.
With Earl Reedus or whatever.
Yeah. It looks super cool. It looks super cool.
It does. It's weird as fuck.
Basically, he's a designer, writer, director, and producer.
That's a lot of shit.
Yeah, it is a lot of shit. But none of it is just like strictly writing the code, you know? He like all of these have to do with ideas. And when I say idea guy, I'm not just saying like, oh hey, let's make a game about this guy that saves the world from terrorists that have nukes. It doesn't just end there. Like obviously it's like, okay, how? You know? Like, what else do we do to get to that end result? And that's what he does. He like throughout his day, he's going to the different like art areas, the different like mechanic areas, and like making sure that everything is coming together the way it's supposed to do. And he's playing Death Stranding every single day and critiquing it and making sure that it's getting to that end result that he wants, that his idea is.
Yeah, I would make a very hard argument that is not an idea guy. Like I think maybe we're splitting hairs here and like defining different definitions, but that role sounds very, very, very useful, and that does not sound like an idea guy to me.
But it's his idea. He's just making sure that it's like actually becoming what it's supposed to be in his head.
I think he
came up with the idea, and he's making sure everybody else does it properly.
But that even is more than just an idea guy.
No, that's what I think an idea guy is. That's
your definition of an idea guy. Okay.
Exactly.
If that is an idea guy, I think I would describe that more as like a director or even a project manager, or like an architect. I would say that has a ton of value.
Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose an idea guy, in like strictly the words idea guy, is definitely, it sounds like somebody who just has an office and sits there like, oh hey, do that.
And that's what Juan was talking about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that person has more job functions than just, hey, let's do that. But like Juan said, it's like, if you just fucking come up with an idea and spew that shit out into the public and then like say, let's make this happen without really even like thinking about it or doing any of the other things that you mentioned that like a actual real productive role would have, then you're like, yeah, all right, fuck you. Maybe that's not that productive. Have you been able to get the theme?
The theme?
Ludum Dare?
Is it out? It is.
Should be out.
I thought we were going to be talking about the possible themes. We haven't though.
No. We will not talk about the possible. That takes like way too long. But I want to talk about the theme. So
404 theme not found.
Yeah, that's it. Look, that's really funny if that's the theme.
Wait, theme voting says 404.
Yeah. So let's check the Twitter.
Is this a prank?
It's your life is currency.
Your life is currency.
Yeah, that is the theme for Ludum Dare 44. Your life is currency.
So what if there was a game in which... Wait, why are you already laughing? I haven't even said the punchline yet. Who does
That's too funny, Juan. Too funny.
I'm on board. Juan, you're our idea guy. That's a great idea.
Hey, what do you guys think about being able to walk anywhere in the garden?
Yeah.
Wait. So let's circle back, right? So I say so many joke Ludum Dare themes, right? Where I'm not credible anymore. So I'm a bad idea guy, right?
I would say you have a ton of value, and almost none of it is as an idea guy.
I disagree, actually.
Okay.
I have really good ideas, but the problem is whenever I'm in a Discord with you guys, I just want to meme the entire time.
Okay.
So, but I'm like, when I'm in a serious business environment, I'm usually the guy that's fixing everything and coming up with the solutions.
I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a different environment. Especially like, and there's also a difference between like ideas in a game jam, like you have 48 to 72 hours to do this type of ideas, and like good ideas. Like a good idea for 48 to 72 hours is way different from a good idea for 6 months or like a year or like 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, like that. There's a huge difference just based on like amount of time. So your life is currency is the theme for Ludum Dare. Juan, are you going to hang out and be our guest this week?
Idea guy?
Yeah, I'll hang out for another hour or so.
Yeah, we're planning on doing finishing up the podcast, which is what we're on right now, and probably like, I don't know, another 30 minutes or so, and then I'd probably end the podcast and then start doing like real Ludum Dare stuff, because right now, I mean, we could spitball a little bit, but I think generally like the process, I texted you this, but the process of getting to a good game takes a really long time and is like super interesting, but also not good for a podcast format where people are like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, they don't want to listen to us.
I don't know. It might be fun to get Mike in here and whoever else is free and just talk. May as well record it.
I mean, it's always fun, but I think we may want to record that separately from nighttime.
From nighttime? Okay, yeah.
So
well,
when did we start doing a podcast?
Last week.
Last week.
And has it been successful?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, hold on. Let me get a fucking.
I just saw our viewer count drip down from 5 to 3. So yeah,
excellent.
Hold on just a fucking second. I'm logging on to YouTube. I'm going to YouTube Studio right now.
What's the goal of the podcast?
Let's go analytics. Actually, it may have had 43 minutes of watch time, 6 views. So if I don't know where you want to set the bar, but I would say that shit is fucking on point. Like, I think that's definitely keeping us.
Wait. Check it again. Check it again.
Do we have 7 now?
Maybe.
Nah.
What's the actual goal of the podcast?
The goal of the podcast is just to have more like content out there to add to the like discoverability of Knightmare games.
I mean, you can't get viewers if you don't have content. So basically, we just have to do it for a little while and hope that it maybe catches on after a couple of years.
Or not even like catches on, but like if somebody asks, or like, let's say for some fucking reason someone's actually interested in like Knightmare games, or like they meet me or Jake or somebody at a convention and they're like, oh, what do you guys do? And I'm like, oh, I'm super interested. What do you have out there? We can like actually point them to some content. And like devlogs, some people, or dev blogs, like some people are fucking interested in, some people are interested in podcasts, some people want to see like screenshots and GIFs all the time. It's like, if there's more out there, then maybe we're touching like a wider breadth of audience and potentially gaining more customers / players / community members.
Yeah,
I hear you. Fuck pointing people to actual games. Let's just give them some video where there's like no camera or anything. It's just the Knightmare Games logo, and then some dumb people talking about ideas in the background.
That's exactly
back to the idea guy conversation.
Oh, God.
You know how we said that, Juan, you said that if somebody's just spewing shit the entire time, everybody's going to be like, oh, your ideas suck.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to hear anything else from you. Well, that's all you got to do. Just spam everybody in a Discord with a lot of @everyone mentions
Yep.
to shitty podcasts.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's like what fucking works in social media, and it blows my mind because when I get an @everyone, which I actually get in Nightmare Games, this is what I did in the Nightmare Games Discord. I went into that little setting and I said,
And mute that
suppress
shit. Yeah. I mean,
But,
that makes sense.
Everyone else like actually looks at it though. Like people like notifications. I don't get it. I
don't like
disable
that shit
every
at all.
single notification I ever get.
No way.
Makes you feel important, right?
Not me.
I think that is it. I think some people that don't get notifications want them because they do feel important. But I get fucking slacks every other second, and I just like want to rip my hair out by the end of the day. So
I want to do that all the time, but instead of rip my hair out, just hang myself. Speaking of that, there's construction going around. There's construction going on next to the dog park. I take the dogs to, and the construction crane, had what looked to be a noose on it, and it was pretty low to the ground. And I definitely remember driving, thinking like, I could probably get there. I could probably do it.
I've been there.
Jesus.
I could probably do it, and that would be so cool. Like that's a good way. But
Becky, your stairs are so much better though.
I know,
And that's how the podcast with 3 viewers got banned on Twitch.
dude.
Damn it.
But that might give us even more discoverability. Like my podcast got banned for mentioning suicide. It's a real problem. Depression's a real thing, and then like it fucking blows up on Reddit because they're like,
yeah, exactly.
You don't care about our mental health. I'm autistic.
What was that? What's that Discord? It's like, or no, what's that YouTube channel? It's like H3 something Productions.
Yeah, it's H3, but it's like I think it's supposed to be like hee.
They get demonetized all the time, and like there was a span of like a month where all of the top posts were just about them.
Nice. See, yeah, I mean, you get like any publicity is good publicity. That's
Hey, what's that creature in the background?
Dude, I don't care. I just hope it ceases to exist in my life. It won't, but I hope.
I just threw a really important video into the chat if you guys want to enjoy that.
All right. This is mixed signals. All right, this is gonna be tough for the no video or the no video shit. I'm liking how it's going so far. She's got some big triceps.
Hey, come on, let's get you in. Come on, watch your head. Come on.
Oh, look at that jiggle.
In we go. And there we go. Come on, let's get you home.
Oh, that was dope. Yeah, so that's pretty much how my life is, and I like it.
Dude, that's hilarious. That was such a good fucking video.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was really good. I thought.
That was. It's not as good as the binder rap though, Mike. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, dude, I got a really good rap for you guys. You guys don't have to listen to it right now, but I'll throw it in the chat for later.
All right. Sounds good. So what do we have left? Let's see. We can go into general chat from here. I mean, we obviously know that the theme for Ludum Dare is your life is currency, and so let's be thinking about that. And if you have any ideas, feel free to like throw those out. But actually, since we're on Ludum Dare, like tips and retrospectives for anybody listening who may be doing Ludum Dare or in the future is going to be doing one, since the title will have fucking Ludum Dare in it. It's best to take whatever idea it is that you come up with, even if you don't think it's perfect, after like a few hours, the best one, and just start going with it, because you can literally stop your progress before you even start it by just spinning too long trying to come up with a great idea. Like sometimes a good idea is good enough for a game jam, and like getting something out there is super important, and you can make iterations on your good idea to make it better. But if you don't start working on it, then it's unlikely that you will finish.
Yeah, and if you guys feel overwhelmed,
I do.
One thing a lot of like people that are new to game development do is they try to add so much to their plate, and then it's just really overwhelming. So like if you guys don't think that you can do everything in this short amount of time, just like slim it down. Just complete something that you know you can complete.
That's right. I have a pizza that I want to go get. I totally forgot about it. I wonder how burnt it is. Dude, it's probably fucking like on fire. So you keep going.
All right. Damn it, Juan. He always does this. He just tells me to keep going, and then I don't know what to talk about.
Hey, let's talk about how I'm trying to set up the AWS CLI right now, and it's telling me that that it can't find my access key. However,
Isn't that like a gun in CS:GO or something?
AWP is what you're thinking of. The op.
Yeah, you lost me. You lost me past that.
Oh, sorry. I'm setting up servers and stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay. Actually, wait. What is it?
What is what?
What AWS? What?
AWS. That's it. Amazon Web Services.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know what that is actually. I was like reading Twitch messages as I was listening, and then all I know about you is that you're like a network guy, but like a network engineer or a full stack engineer.
I'm not a network engineer. No. So the one thing that you know about me is
I said full stack. I literally introduced him before the thing. Okay, it wasn't on fire. It's not good. It's not ideal, but it's probably edible, and that's good.
Nice. Hey, so Eki, speaking of a network guy, so we have an ops opening for a DevOps guy.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So I don't know.
What's your stack?
So it's all AWS. I think like everything's ECS on AWS rather than like Kubernetes. However, I think I mentioned you to the guy that was looking, and I'm like, I have a guy that might be interested in it, but I'm like, I have no idea if he is or not. And I said, you were working on Kubernetes, and he's like, dope, maybe I should move over there. And that would have been your boss, so maybe he might be interested in moving that direction.
Oh, okay, I see. The Kubernetes is like the thing right now.
Yeah, it's dope. I set up a local cluster, and it's super dope.
Like with Minikube?
Actually, no. I set up a whole VM, and I have like the full thing running.
Oh, dope! So you did it like bare metal or like from scratch?
Yeah, I did kube control to like do like all the commands. Yeah.
Yeah. Cooper control. Cupertini's control.
Yeah, Cupertini's, dude.
Yeah, no, it's sick. I do a lot of work with Kubernetes, and I've been like building in cluster tools and shit like that, but I'm also going through some certifications on AWS, but we are all on-prem, so I don't have any fucking cloud experience. I'm sure it's pretty transferable, and honestly I'm pretty happy where I'm at, but it's always good to like see, I guess. It's always good to look because you can always say no, so no, I appreciate that. And that's exactly what people come to the podcast for to listen to. So that should, I mean, if we don't get, let's see, the first podcast had 6 views. So the second podcast, we're going for like 10, right?
That 10% growth of like networking in the industry right there. Like that, you know, if you're at home trying to get it into the tech industry, that right there is what you need to do.
That's right. Kubernetes, AWS. No, really though, actually. Like if you can learn Kubernetes, you don't even have to have that strong of like a programmer's knowledge or like sysadmin knowledge or anything like that, because I assume if you can set up Kubernetes and like manage it and understand it, then you probably are pretty decent at Linux administration. But that shit is like a golden ticket right now.
Yep.
It's whack.
Hey, do you guys do, just out of curiosity, and then we could go on to other things that actually matter for this podcast. Do you guys do things like stateful databases in Kubernetes, or do you have separate deployments for that?
Oh, we do.
You do have separate deployments, or you do it in Kubernetes?
No, we do have it in Kubernetes. We have
Interesting.
NFS, and we're working on Portworx too. And then I've worked with what was it, like Minio or something, which is kind of like S3.
Okay. Have you guys ever had any data loss?
I'm sure, but not since I've been there.
Interesting.
I haven't been there for a while.
I was looking
I
around
mean, I guess I have
at
like a
either
year.
putting it in Kubernetes or doing like a managed, like an RDS on AWS or like a managed database on DigitalOcean.
I've
So that's
heard that
interesting.
managed RDS is good. That's what I've heard, but I've never used it.
I have as well, but it's expensive as fuck. You pay for that convenience, you know? Like the replicated stuff is super fucking expensive if you want like failover.
Yeah. We have two Postgres databases, like containerized Postgres databases running our application, but people who use our system have access to NFS and Portworx. And I honestly don't know what Portworx is, but it's literally like a product that is trying to deliver stateful databases, or stateful, actually, sorry, this is stateful file storage over Kubernetes. So a little different, but similar.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Hello, Fern Sword. Welcome. In case you don't recognize my voice, this is my voice of Eki, and I like interacting with people in the Twitch chat, especially
This
if
is
they
also
saw
my
me.
voice.
Yeah, and this is my other personality that sucks more.
Darn it.
And I like people who were like, "Oh yeah, I watched your Freestyle Fridays rap 7 years ago, and I remember laughing once. It was so great." That's my favorite thing. So cool. Welcome back. Welcome back for this. Whatever this is, we're doing it. Did you go through any other like tips for Ludum Dare? I mean, obviously we should discuss them and kind of our process, since we should be going through that right as this podcast ends.
Yeah, we should definitely be going through it. But as soon as you left, I was like, yo, Juan, Eki does this shit to me all the time. Just kidding, not all the time. Maybe like once. But I was like, now I don't know what to talk about.
Oh,
And so I kind of
we
blew
have
that.
we have a run a show, dude. Like there's a whole like Google Docs with a bunch of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, we do. But you left me, you know? I'm like
yeah.
a small child.
Yeah, you're a little baby infant, and I'm like, here's the sword, just fucking fight him.
It was so abrupt and like unexpected. I was like, oh shit, I'm not prepared
I'm
for
honestly so glad I remembered. That's really dangerous. Like it didn't burn to a point where it like would have been dangerous, but it is not as delightful as I think it could have been if I would have been paying attention.
Eki, what is more important? Okay, that pizza, which is gonna last you what, like one night? All right, you're gonna enjoy it for a little bit, or this podcast, which you have tainted for all of eternity.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so that's good.
All right, so what we'll do first, our process for Ludum Dare is after the podcast, we'll jump into like an idea session. So we'll be in like a Discord similar to this, and we'll hopefully be coming up with ideas related to the theme or even unrelated to the theme. Because last year it took us a pretty long time. I'd say at least a couple of hours before we came up with anything that we kind of liked. And then we take the first things that we kind of like and then try to refine them a little bit down into like more manageable gameplay loops. So you want to break it down to like what is the game? What is the smallest unit of game you have? And then expand from there. So you like brainstorm, refine, and then expand. And so that's what we'll probably do after this podcast. It sucks, but my biggest tip from last time is don't get hung up on any extraneous features. The one that I got hung up on was a checkpoint system. A checkpoint system is not needed for almost every single Ludum Dare game that you will ever make. Maybe it's cool, but it's not needed. Like focus on the core, the gameplay, like getting your game finished, working, playable, getting something good, and then you can start progressively trying to figure out what you want to build in terms of polish. And I would say that a checkpoint system is probably even further past like particles and like sound effects and like crazy shit like that. So I would recommend to stay away from checkpoint systems and try to stay prioritized. those are dogs barking. You're welcome. What about you, Claps? You were here last time, weren't you? Kind of.
For which game jam?
Let's go for Regress.
Regress? Yeah, I was there. For part of it.
What do you think? What have you learned so far in observing game jams?
I think that you need somebody who is adept at making checkpoint systems.
Yeah. Okay. That would be nice. Are you gonna do the checkpoint system?
Yeah. I mean, if you want me to, I can spend the whole weekend doing it, and then you'll have an unfinished product that doesn't work.
I'm down. Like I've done that before. I've definitely done that before.
But yeah, just what's important is that you just complete something, right? If you try to cram all of these ideas into one project over the course of 72 hours, or if you're doing a solo jam 48 hours, you're not going to finish.
Probably
so
not.
Just come up with like an interesting mechanic that might be unique and then just focus on that one mechanic, you know?
And honestly, unique doesn't really even matter that much.
Yeah,
like if you want to win or something, then sweet. But yeah, like how many games that have blown up recently have been unique, like have been innovative? Like, can you even think of the last time there was a game that was like really popular that you actually think was innovative, that like did something really new and unique? Because I can't. Like a lot of the games that people play, a lot of the things that you'll see on Twitch, like the most popular categories, are not games that are doing something new, unique, or innovative. They're games that took old ideas and gameplay loops and refined them and made them good. Forager is not unique, I wouldn't say, right? Well, I haven't played it though, so I won't discuss that further because I haven't played it. I've watched a bit, and it was made in Game Maker Studio, so that's dope, by the way. I watched some people playing it, and I watched a little bit of it on Twitter as it was being developed. I don't think it was that innovative. I think it was well refined. But I haven't played it, so I guess I don't know the intricate mechanics of it. So I won't discuss that further. Maybe for homework for next podcast, I'll do a little bit more research into Forager and decide whether or not I think that it is an innovative game. That's good homework. You should do that too, Clubs. Because I actually think you'd really like that game. I actually know you would like that game.
It's on Steam?
It is on Steam. It was released, I think, a couple weeks ago, maybe 1 week ago.
Oh, it looks pretty.
It's dope. Like, the dude who made it seems pretty dope, too. It was made in Game Maker Studio. As far as I'm aware, it's a mine and build. Like, it's, what's the one? Didn't you play a game where it was, like, conveyor belts and like
Factorio?
Factorio, yeah. Like you go and you gather resources, you build shit, and then you're building shit, and that like automates it, and then like a lot of shit.
Really?
Yeah. So it's kind of like farmy, buildy.
It's like Don't Starve meets Factorio.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've gotten, but like I said, I haven't played it.
Ooh, you're right. It does look really cool. I think I might have to check it out. Is it multiplayer?
I have no idea.
Doesn't.
What's the name of this game?
Forager. Someone who forages.
Oh, I saw a streamer playing this, and I was like, "This looks fucking dumb," but I didn't know that there was automation.
But you don't buy land in those games to unlock.
Oh, you can like
items. Yeah.
So
that's true.
I noticed there's dungeons like in Enter the Gungeon.
Mm-hmm.
But I just saw him mine through a wall and it opened up another room.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's sick. Honestly, it looks really, really, really good. And there's nothing I would say about it to like take away from the fact that it's a good game, because I really do think it's a solid game. I just am not sure if it's innovative or not, because I haven't played it, so I don't think I can make an accurate assessment.
It says that it's an idle game that you want to actively keep playing. Is it something that makes me think of like a complex cookie clicker, though? You know?
Yeah.
Because all cookie clicker is you click until you can get upgrades, and then once you have the upgrades, they do it for you, and then you just buy more upgrades. But this one might have a lot more interaction. In which case, it's not really a cookie clicker, but
I think that might be a poor description.
I mean, that's just what I think of when I think of an idle game,
Mm.
and it's calling itself an idle game.
I think it
that you
means
want to actively
idle.
keep playing.
I think it means idle being that like shit happens over time, that like the game can progress without you doing things, but it wants you to do things. Like it's going to compel
cookie
you
clicker.
to do things, right? No, like I feel like
Because a cookie clicker, you can like buy upgrades to automatically gather cookies, or you can upgrade your own click. You know,
I see. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm getting what you're saying, and I agree
Yeah.
with it. I think that's where it's going to.
Yeah. So maybe that is what it's like, or maybe it's a
Which-
poor description, but I understand.
like it's not like a derogatory term or anything.
Mhm.
Cookie clicker, like
Yeah.
if this is one of those that has a lot more interaction where you're building
Mhm.
things, that sounds like pretty sweet.
Yeah. That does sound sweet.
So I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, homework for this next week before the next podcast. Maybe
Also, there's
play some
clearly
Fortnite.
enemies that you
Yeah,
have to fight.
there's
a lot of,
like
so
shit
it's
you can
not a
do.
cookie
That's
clicker.
what I was
die.
saying. Like there's
Yeah.
it's like adventure. Like
Mhm.
it's Factorio meets like God, I used to play a 2D game where you would like mine shit and build your own armor and stuff. I can't fucking
Terraria.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So, like
it's a bit more like Don't Starve though.
yeah.
Have you played through those games?
I played Don't Starve for a little bit, but not much, because somebody was like, we should buy Don't Starve together. It was Ryan, the guy who worked on Spark with me. Was like, I really like Don't Starve together. And I was like, oh, I'll look it up. And then I really like the style of Don't Starve, so I played it for a little bit. But I play League of Legends, right? I play like competitive games. I don't stick with non-competitive games too long.
Back in like August, I also suggested that we play it with other people.
Yes. Well, we have games to play. We have games to make. I mean, we're 30
Yeah,
minutes
let's
into
get to
Ludum
that.
Dare, and we fucking haven't done shit.
Where's our idea?
No, we'll go through the general. MK11, which is Mortal Kombat 11, just released 2 nights ago, I think. And something that I've seen on Reddit and has been getting a little bit of attention is, in order to unlock all the cosmetics and like the unlockables in the game, it would cost you almost $4,000
Oh, geez.
to unlock all the cosmetics. And I think it said in order to unlock that without paying money, it would take you 300 hours.
Jesus.
So this is a fighting game, and it might even be more than that. 300 hours seems like not that, like obviously that is a lot of fucking time, but it doesn't seem that bad. I think it might even be more than that.
You know Kevin Fung?
Mm-hmm.
He was like the master League of Legends equivalent in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, nice. Do you know what he played? Like character?
I could check. Ryu, I think.
No, that is Street Fighter.
Is that Street Fighter? Maybe
That
a Street
is-
Fighter then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, Street Fighter.
Okay.
Dude, fighting games are all the same.
That is similar. I mean, that's like saying Dota, League of Legends, and Heroes of the Storm are the same. Except
they're
Heroes of the
MOBAs.
Storm doesn't exist, right? Anymore?
Yeah. What is that?
Does it? No. I'm not kidding. Didn't they like cut support for it? I don't really know.
No.
I thought I heard that they were like getting rid of it.
Here's
Heard Sword saying no. Okay, I heard that was untrue.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, it still exists. All right. All right, never mind. But same thing. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, like Capcom, all of the different fighting games are, they're the same genre, but the mechanics and the intricacies are much more easily identifiable by people who like actually play the genre.
What happened to that battle royale in the style
It
of
might have been Paragon.
Yeah, Paragon is the one that's not out anymore. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
What was that game that we played a little bit of a while back?
It's Battle Right.
Battle Right. Yeah.
Juan, don't you love that game?
That game fucking blew, dude.
I liked Battle Right. I thought it was solid, but you guys sucked at it.
No, I agree. I think it was a decent game, but I wasn't picking up the like the mechanics are something that I feel like you have to work on for a while, right? Because there's just like the abilities are a little bit different. I feel like I picked up League of Legends quicker than Battlerite in terms of the abilities, and like because there was like a lot of things like jumping through walls and shit that was a little bit obnoxious.
I think it's much harder to learn because like League of Legends is a slow enough game and there's a lot more objectives that are easily accomplished than Battlerite, because Battlerite is literally like beat the other human player right across from you and that's your only objective, and that can be really
it's like
difficult.
all mechanics.
Yeah, so it's literally all mechanics, but League of Legends you get like these small wins if you get good at like CSing or even like assisting somebody else on your team who can kill the other players and like getting towers and stuff. There's a lot more wins, but I also think that's why League of Legends is as popular as it is comparatively. You know, like Battlerite has a good following and is a good indie game that's like making money, but they're not the biggest fucking game in the world.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we wrap up this episode of Nighttime?
What about the Avengers? When are you going to see Endgame?
I have not seen it yet.
When are you going
maybe,
to?
I don't know. Maybe on $5 Tuesdays.
$5 Tuesdays, that's right.
Yep.
No spoilers,
AMC theaters.
please. That's why I'm doing the game jam this weekend, so hopefully I won't even be near social medias or anything.
Let's spoil Endgame with our game.
Yeah, well,
The game is called Endgame, and it's just the plot of
yeah,
Avengers.
it's just that would be so fucked up. But I mean, it'd be super. I wouldn't do it, but it'd be pretty funny. Yeah. All right. So that's it. Juan, or actually, we could open up the Q&A for a second.
It sounds like Elo wants to say something though. He's been going on for about 10 minutes.
No, that's not Elo. Like that is Topher and Ella. Like Elo doesn't bark.
Oh, okay.
They're upstairs though, and so it may be like a little bit more rumbly. I think they're. I don't fucking know, but honestly, I'm very sad about it. They've been going off for like 30 minutes straight.
Fern Swartz says he's going to assassinate us if we spoil Endgame.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's talking about.
That's fine. We can open up the Q&A if you guys are in the Discord. Hold on, actually, I will even link the Discord for anybody in here who wants to join in and wants to do the Q&A section. If there's anybody, then I'll drag you in, ask us questions. If not, then we'll do the sign off and we'll go start trying to make a game.
Maybe jam.
Have any questions about being a lead developer?
Yeah, Juan is a professional in the industry.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for people to get in here for Q&A, Eki, in your eyes, all right, in your experience, what makes a programmer so much more valuable than the guy who's coming up with an idea, huh?
Let me jump in on this. All
right,
okay.
you can go ahead, and then I'll probably agree and then add on things.
So I'll give you a great example. One of our products is an artificial intelligence bot in which you can ask it things and like about a vehicle and say, hey, is this vehicle available? Or like, hey, can I do blah, blah, blah. So it's all well and good because all of the executive teams like, well, the bot should do this and the bot should do this. However, it's the developers that are sitting there going like, okay, that's machine learning this piece. That piece, like, so I'll give you a specific example. Let's go back to that trade-in flow that we were talking about earlier on that stupid billboard. So that thing exists. However, they're like, okay, here's like an API that allows you to get a trade-in valuation, figure it out, like turn it into a bot flow. So the executive teams, that's it, they're done, right? Like that's their idea. And it's up to the developers to break that down into something that's actionable and to figure out like bits and pieces on how it's going to work. So I'll give you an example of an issue that we had with that. So people apparently have no idea how to spell the model of their car, right? So like Tuscan for Hyundai was really hard to spell apparently. And F-150, everyone missed the dash in the middle. They would just spell out. So the bot would get really hyper confused because it's like, I can't match it to anything. So we had to do like a string comparison piece that would go in and try to figure out what they're saying. It's the small things like that that a developer is able to bring to a table and resolve. I'll give you one other example, and I'll shut up with this rant. Tesla, for instance. So Elon Musk rolls in, and he's like, "I want self-driving cars." Like, sweet, like that's it. He's done. He walked away. It's the developers or the programmers or the board designers that are on the back end going like, okay, well, fuck, we need to take a whole bunch of pictures. We need to figure out what we do on each picture, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. I can break it down with less examples. Let's take two people, a programmer and a non-programmer in the context of video games and a game jam. The programmer is a good programmer, but has shitty ideas. The other person has good ideas, but is a shitty programmer. In the context of game jam, the programmer will be able to create a shitty game because he had a shitty idea plus good programming equal a usable shitty game. A
complete game that maybe isn't fun.
Yeah, maybe. Or just is a shitty, like a complete game that was designed and created off of a shitty idea. A person with...
But completely playable and functional.
Exactly. And a person with a good idea but shitty programming either has a game that is not functional and people don't even get the idea, or doesn't even have something functional because they can't program it. That's the same thing as like the comparison can be made like I have these beautiful paintings in my mind. Like they're fucking mind-blowing mind-blowing $1 million paintings in my mind. But I can't paint them. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like what is the value of my $1 million painting in my mind? Compared to, let's say, in this same example, a person who doesn't have a good mind's eye but can actually paint. Like, they're going to have some art out there that you can view, but the other person will not.
Yeah. And so with that in mind, everybody, especially when you're working with a team, like specialization is important. We have Ariel doing art for us this weekend, Saltmonger and XC Chad Gray doing music. Eki, what are you doing on the game?
Everything else.
Everything else.
Literally.
And then I'm there for moral support.
Yep.
I'd like to point out Eki made fun of me for doing a whole bunch of examples, and then he proceeded to do a whole bunch of examples.
That's true. I was like, I can break this down simpler, and then I was like, never mind.
Yeah, it starts with your mind, like once you start it, right?
I think it's because like the concept is simple to grasp when you grasp it yourself. And like this is the folly of educators, right? But you're like, oh, I can explain this easy. This is easy to understand. And then you say it, and then you're not satisfied with your own explanation. And then you go deeper and are like, oh, I can provide examples for this.
And then you proceed to make fun of other people.
Yep. And then you're like, oh, what an idiot. What a fucking dumbo. All right.
Yeah, I got one more thing for the Q&A.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened to the escape room?
Oh, that is a great Q&A.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, for sure. We had a lot of stuff out on paper. We had, kind of like a business plan set up. We had 3D models and like games and what we wanted to do with it. But then we kind of started like veering towards the idea of a VR arcade instead of like strictly an escape room, and maybe even combining the two. But then after we went from like the different like local escape rooms and VR arcades and like looking up the numbers online, it's so hard to make a profitable one right now, because after escape rooms came out, everybody started making them. And so the like market for it was really, really flooded. And the problem on top of that was that people were making shitty ones. And so like a customer would just go in one time, have a shitty experience, and then not do it again because they're like, oh, I already did an escape, it sucked. And so like a lot of them have closed down, and the ones that are out there now are like maybe making like 50% or like making breaking even, and then most of like the new ones that come up are just like failing. So
yeah, pretty much the last point. The new ones that are coming up are failing, and I think we could do a better job than the new ones coming up. But after actually, the numbers that I was unaware of when originally coming up with the ideas were rent. Like, I could estimate it.
Expensive too.
I could estimate it, but then when we actually started, and by we, I mostly mean me, but like when I started looking at physical locations for it, I was completely blindsided by the amount of rent, and then and like estimated utilities on top of that for the sizes that we would get, and then when I crunched the numbers for like rent per
Like
square
upfront
foot
costs and stuff.
and all of that, it would have been extremely difficult to become profitable. And that doesn't mean that like we shouldn't have done it just based on like not having profit, but I didn't think that it was worth my time and effort, being like somebody who has other skills and is making money elsewhere. And Jake agreed that it probably wasn't worth the effort.
I didn't really have
and
much of a
couldn't do
choice.
it
I mean,
and couldn't do it himself, right? So like
because
it
what was going to
mostly
happen
just
was
like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
yeah, if we did end up doing it, we might have broken even, but you still would have had to like work your day job to finance the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I probably would have had to do something or just spent all of my time there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't really worth it.
Yep, camsoda.com.
Hello,
I
Saltmonger.
remember looking
Yo, what
at
is up?
locations for rent with me at the beginning of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, shit, these are really expensive. And you're like, no, let's just look at these that are out like in the middle of nowhere. They're like factories. They're like
I honestly even looked at those, and maybe the numbers like changed since the first time we looked at it, or maybe like the ones that we saw that were kind
Yeah.
of cheap like were taken. But the ones that I legitimately could get my hands on, like, and go look at in these areas were insane.
Yeah. And it could just be Denver too. Like if you open them up in a different city, like say St. Louis is where I'm at right now, rent's going to be a lot cheaper and you can still probably charge the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Real estate has like tripled in like the last 3 years. I don't remember when we talked about it first. It was probably like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So that's probably true.
Yeah. So it may have been like a not quick enough to pull the trigger thing, but I definitely think that it was the right choice not to when we did it. When we were making the consideration, I think it was the right choice not to.
And then on top of it, if you did do it and then like rent went up, right? Like year over year on your lease, like you're just fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of makes you wonder though, like what if?
Yeah,
and you can't live your life based off of what ifs, but
life makes you wonder what if I was born with a actual real sized penis, like for a normal human adult instead of a child.
Stop injuring people.
Oh, yeah.
I think that like that ship bridge simulator would have been fucking off the chain.
Yeah.
That honestly, I thought it was a kick-ass idea. I had a whole like 3D model designed in SketchUp of how it was going to be.
It was gorgeous.
I
This
remember
3D
that.
model was fucking top notch too.
Honestly, like
Top notch.
it wasn't too shabby.
It was top notch. No, it was
Yeah, it was
literally the toppest of notches. my boy TFX / Saltmonger. Hey, what are you doing?
Right now,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hanging out.
You're hanging out?
I went to my sister's birthday celebration, so I missed 95% of this.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no.
I can't believe you would go to some sort of family function instead of listen to episode 2 of Nighttime.
But I see there's already a design doc. Well, I guess kind of a design doc.
No, I
People
doubt it.
something.
I did make
even
it
looked at it.
I've made a design doc and put it in the Discord. If anybody wants to like join in and
Oh, yeah,
contribute, feel free.
I see it now.
I also see that you gave us the soundsman.
I did.
Yeah,
You asked for soundsman, so I delivered.
there you go. The sounds peoples have got their role in Discord.
Soundsmen.
No, they're sounds peoples. This is 2019. You can't assume their gender. All right. We have anything left, or should we do the sign off? You want to do the sign off?
What's the sign off? Is it in the document?
Yeah, dude, like you could do the social medias, the like follow us, and then hold on.
For sure.
I think.
We should definitely, if we want people to see the podcast, we should put it on our Facebook page because that's growing.
I did last time.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. If you're not already, which you all definitely are, join our Discord.
What is the Twitter and the
all
Facebook?
Of the links are here in the Twitch on our Twitch channel. You can click on any of them. They literally say what they are.
What about
click on them and then go there.
The future? What about people from the future listening to us on
YouTube? Okay.
On Spotify.
Go to knightmare.games. Type that in your URL.
What's a URL?
Open up a web browser and then the space up at the top. That doesn't even have. It does have our handles on it, right? Yeah,
it does on the side, I think.
Yeah, just go to www.knightmare.games, and then over on the right side, you'll see all of our handles. We have our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow those to just keep up with whatever we do.
All right, you got anything clever? Last time I said night, sleep tight, don't let the bugs bite.
Hey,
you got anything cool like that?
I think beyond the podcast, guys, just want to shout out Meister real quick. Twitch.tv/everyone.
There you go.
You know, make sure you follow that. I stream once every 4 months or so really got to hit that follow button to catch them. You know, they're like little rabbits running away from you. Join my Discord too. The link's on my Twitch page. Really enjoyed being here. Thank you guys so much for having me. Really enjoyed my time here today.
We don't appreciate you at all.
The guest is the most well-spoken person here.
No, he's the one who with like the most prepared spiel.
Oh yeah, he has it all written down.
Yeah,
practiced it.
We need to prepare ours better.
He was on his lunch break and he's like, "All right."
I used to outro my stream every time, so I actually, I'm prepared.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Smash that share button.
Night time.
Ring the bell.
Brofist, right?
Oh,
No, we gotta.
Jesus, this is like, I can't believe my name is like partially on this fucking.
Hey man, you put your name. I haven't said mine. Nobody knows I'm here.
Jesus.
As far as they're aware, I'm Professor Claps. Just with like a slight inflection, slight difference in inflection.
I think maybe my speech patterns are a little more uppity.
Probably because I've been beaten down by the crux of life.
Just give me another 6 years.
All right. Well, guten Tag and good night.